Hey Valley Middle Kids, welcome back to another G67 math video. Tonight we're going to be adding and subtracting mixed numbers. Let's take a look at our trivia question of the day first. What is this famous landmark? What's the name of it? I bet you no one knows the exact name or the complete name. All right, let's hit this and see that our target officially is I can add and subtract positive and negative mixed numbers with unlike denominators. So this is the last in a series of events where we're adding and subtracting fractions and mixed numbers, and quite honestly the most difficult. But we follow many of the same procedures that we have in the past and you'll be just fine. Let's do this thing. All right, Martha's making some punch. She added 5½ cups of ginger ale, 2¼ cups of orange juice, and 3 1/3 cups of cranberry juice for each batch. How many cups of punch will be in each batch? So we have all of these mixed numbers that we have to add together, and we have different denominators for each of them. So the first thing I said is, go ahead and rename those fractions with a common denominator. So we renamed them all to 12s. Obviously, 1/2 is 6 12s. 1/4 is 3 12s, and 1/3 is 4 12s. Then flip them to improper fractions. So 5 times 12 is 60 plus 6 is 66 12s. 2 times 12 is 24 plus 3 is 27 12s. 3 times 12 is 36 plus 4 is 40 12s. Now we just add or subtract. We can go straight across. We don't have to worry about the denominator. We're just adding those numerators. So 40 and 66, that would make 106 plus 27 would be 133 12s. And then our last step is just to reduce. It's an improper fraction. We'll flip that back into a mixed number. 133 divided by 12 is 11 1/12 cups of punch per batch. All right, now I know that many of you may say, well, I think there's a simpler way to do that. And there are, and sometimes you can take some shortcuts. Like for instance, if I can find my deals here, you could just add up these whole numbers and then it's right here. Don't give up on me. I'm just going to click over here. And then you could just take and add up the fractions. So the whole numbers are 5, 2, 3, that's 10. And then you could just take the fractions and give a common denominator for those and add those up and you would have 13 12s. If you add 10 cups plus 13 12s, flipping this into a mixed number, it's 1 1/12. You still have 11 1/12 cups per batch. But I think the thing you need to remember is that what I'm proposing here will work for all situations. As you become more and more fluent and fluid with the addition and subtraction, and depending upon the number of positives and negatives, this is a pretty decent situation because it's all positive. So you can sometimes find some shortcuts using your knowledge of fractions. But what I'm laying out, these 4 steps will work for just about any problem you can come up with. There, I knew I could. All right, sorry about that. All right, let's take a look at the review. We've been talking about this, so we're just going to skim through it. We got our numerator and our denominator. You understand that. Tonight we're going to be looking at mixed numbers, which has some wholes and some parts, and then with unlike denominators, different denominators. So the steps really I'm proposing are that we rename these fractions to a common denominator, we flip them to an improper, we do our adding or subtraction, and then just make sure we reduce at the end. Quick review, if you're going to flip a mixed number into an improper fraction, here's your mixed number, multiply down 4 times 4, whole numbers times the denominators, add in the numerator. 17 fourths. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 plus 1 is 17. Same thing, if you have an improper fraction, 19 thirds, it really means 19 divided by 3. We set it up, 19 divided by 3 goes in there. 6 times, subtract it out, we have 1 left over. So we have 6 wholes, and we have 1 part of 3 left over. All right, you can always do the discount double check. 6 times 3 is 18 plus 1 gives me 19 thirds. I know I'm back home. All right, let's take a look at a couple problems, and I'll have you do some. So we have 3 1/4 minus 1 2/3. So first of all, we're going to rename those fractions. We'll go with the common denominator of 12. So we multiplied 4 times 3 to get to 12. So whatever we do to the bottom, we do to the top. So this one becomes 3 12ths. We multiply 3 by 4 to get to 12. So when we multiply 2 times 4, we've got 8 twelfths. So now we've renamed 1/4 and 2/3 with a common denominator of 12. Now we can just add or subtract straight across. We have 39 minus 20 twelfths, and that leaves us with 19 twelfths. And when we flip that into a mixed number, it's 1 and 7 twelfths. Let's take a look at one a little more difficult. Yeah, but the negative numbers definitely make things a little more complicated. Again, I'm just going to follow the steps. I've got a 5 and a 10 as a fraction here, so we're going to use 10 as our common denominator. So this is already, named as tenths, so I just have to rename 4/5. And I can do that by calling that 8/10. So now I've got this negative 1 and 8/10 plus 2 and 1/10. So I'm still going to flip them into improper fractions. So 1 times 10 is 10 plus 8 is 18/10. It's a negative 18/10. And then 2 times 10 is 20 plus 1 is 21/10. So now I have this negative 18/10 plus 21/10. Well, if I'm at negative 18 on the number line, it's going to take me 18 spots to get back to 0, and I'm going to have 3 left over. So those 3, that's at positive 3/10 would be your answer there. Okay, some people might be able to do this in their head. I'm not one of those people. I stick to the steps. I rename them, I flip to improper, do my addition or subtraction, then I just reduce. All right, time for you to try a couple. Go ahead and try this one here. Go ahead and pause the video. Okie dokie, let's see how you did. Well, if you renamed them like I did, you would have had negative 3 and 4/6 minus 1 and 3/6. Okay, and then, oops, I've got to click this guy in here. We can go ahead and flip those to improper fractions. We've got negative 22/6. 1 times 6 plus 3, we've got negative 9/6. If we add a negative 22 and we're adding a negative 9, these are all negative numbers. So you'll notice instead of saying subtraction, I changed it to plus and negative. It's easier for me to comprehend that I'm adding 2 negatives. So I've got a negative 31/6. That really is 31 divided by 6, negative. And if you take 31 divided by 6, you will have a negative 5 and 1/6 left over. Okie dokie. Let's try the next pause problem. Negative 1 and 1/5 minus a negative 3 and 3/4. Go ahead and pause it and give it a shot. First thing I did is I just rewrote that problem. When I have minus the negative, I'm just going to rewrite it as negative 1 and 1/5 plus 3 and 3/4. I hope you do too. I mean, I just think it's a good way to go about things. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to rename those. I'm going to use 20 as my common denominator, so 1/5 becomes 4/20, 3/4 becomes 15/20. Now I'm going to go ahead and put them into improper fractions. 1 times 20 plus 4, it's 24/20, negative of course. 3 times 20 is 60 plus 15, I have 75/20, so I have a negative 24, and I'm adding 75. Well, that's going to leave me a positive 51/20 when reduced to a mixed number becomes 2 and 11/20. All right, I thank you for listening and going through those with me. Remember the basic ones here. Rename them, flip them to improper, add or subtract and reduce. Those steps will work for everything. As you become more fluent, you will find some shortcuts. All right, so here are your ticket to the show problems. Negative 3 and 2/5 plus a negative 2 and 1/10. You also have a negative 2 and 3/8 subtracting or minus 1 and 4/6. You can go ahead and do that for your ticket to the show, and let's get to the trivia question. What is this famous landmark? Well, it is the Arc de Triomphe in France, Paris, France. Most people call it the Arc de Triomphe. Arc de Triomphe d'Étoile. Sorry, I'm a French major, so it's hard for me to read stuff without reading it in French. There it is. Arc de Triomphe d'Étoile. De l'Étoile, sorry. This means the Arc de Triomphe of the Star. It stands in the center of the Place de Charles de Gaulle and on the western end of the Champs-Élysées. That's a famous street in France. Place de l'Étoile honors those who fought and died for France in the French Revolution and the Napoleonic Wars. This is kind of cool. I didn't know this. Beneath it lies the vault of their unknown soldier, the tomb of the unknown soldier from World War I. I did not know that. I actually didn't know it was Arc de Triomphe de l'Étoile, and I've been there and seen it since I was a French major. All right, thanks a lot. You're the best. See ya.